This week in comic books, Delta Dogs came out with issue 13, and man, it is good. It's in for the long haul, but it is still good. And then things took a dramatic twist this week as exciting things started happening with Future State. They had this great new concept of taking a city and shrinking it and putting it in a bottle to protect it or something like that. Yay. And then over in Marvel, original idea, they brought back the Phoenix Force because we haven't done that like a dozen times already. And they're gonna have another tournament because that X of Swords thing was so interesting and just fresh and new. All that and more right after this, that and the intro. What's going on, you wonderful weirdos? I'm Pocan Joe, and as always, you're pretty cool for swinging by. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into this week's review. So just so you know, there's spoilers, and I'm going to say some unkind things about some of these comic books. If, don't take it personally, just take it. All right, let's get an awkward sip of coffee out of the way. And let's start with DC. So this week in DC, Death Metal finally ends. Epic band cover, right? Finished my collection. Reading through this, Wonder Woman, the sovereignty of hope, and the one who laughs, the sovereignty of just chaos. Is the best way to put it. They're battling at it, and these other beings from another dimension, past another dimension, in the first dimension, are just going to come and just wipe it all out. The one who laughs tries to tempt Wonder Woman into signing up with her or with him to kind of combat all this. Yada, yada, yada. Philosophical. Well, it's not even, it's pseudo-philosophical at best. It wasn't even that. We'll come to find out they're not going to just wipe everything clean because they really like the stories. Remember the writer from a couple of issues back who, scribed all the stories of the heroes? They're just going to relaunch a universe because God knows DC can't go 2 years without relaunching the entire universe. And new rules, new setups, new fresh characters, new fresh stories. I'm on board. Let's do it. Now let's review this. So this, right? Future State, it gets rolled out. This is the only Future State book I picked up. I literally was flipping through it and I was like, I've seen this before. This is boring. So basically it's Superboy in the future as a Superman with a villain called Brain Cell, who's basically just Brainiac. He's like, they literally took pieces of Brainiac and built him. And to save Metropolis, Superboy or Superman, whatever you want to call him, decides to put Metropolis in a bottle. If you don't know, this has happened already. Superman actually did that to Metropolis in Adventure Comics. Like that has happened. But in this one, it causes all kinds of problems, right? Because everybody's thinking, oh, how dare you save everybody? Because we don't understand what's going on. Then there's two more stories in here that are nothing more than carry-ons to the main story. One's with Mr. Miracle. For some reason, he's just randomly hanging out in Metropolis now. Apparently, that's where he lives. He's also African, or can't really call it because he's an alien. I'm not sure how to describe that without making it weirder than it already is. Regardless, he's there, and apparently his suit is all janky and weak, and he gets thrown around a lot, and I didn't really understand what was going on in that story or why it was even really relevant. I didn't even know it was Metropolis until like halfway through it. I was like, oh, they're talking about Metropolis. And then the last one was The Guardian. You remember The Guardian. Huge fan of The Guardian. Said no one. Like, it's a street-level SWAT team guy, which they actually made fun of that in it, which was pretty cool. Apparently, Jimmy Olsen's running the newspaper now, or social media, or whatever they're calling their news organizations now. Little on the nose with the rioting and information and tell us the truth and all that other stuff. Little on the nose there, but for a fresh new universe, man, it reads like every other DC story that's come out in the last 50 years. Like, seriously, why even waste the time with the new universe? You could have just said, reboot, and been done with it. Like I said, I glanced through the other ones and I was just like, I'm really not interested in this. It's not entertaining. It's kind of lame. And I was like, I gotta pick one. So I picked this one. And man, I kissed that $5 goodbye. All right, well, that's all DC I got. So yeah, rolling over into Marvel. What did we get in Marvel this week? Oh my God, redundancy is the word of the week. Hey, we're gonna launch another contest. This time it's for the Phoenix Force. You know, the Phoenix Force, that thing we bring about twice a year, just in case there's some fans that are like solely fans of the Phoenix Force. Yeah, we're gonna have a big tournament of heroes and villains to determine who gets the Phoenix Force. Not like any of them really wanted it or even questioned it, but we do get the first battle with Doctor Doom and Captain America in here. And Captain America does something fresh and new. He stands up and he says, as he's getting beat, "I can do this all day." Yeah, there's your fresh new stories coming out. Just rehashing. But I get it if they were doing it for like a nostalgic pull, but it's not coming off as that. They're just putting makeup on something that we've already seen a dozen times already. It's not coming off fresh and new because they have to explain it to us. That's how you know it's not nostalgic based. So yeah, I don't. It's cool, one per store variant cover. That is cool though. I'll give them that. At least they're still catching me with that, right? Got me. Okay. Spider-Man. Okay, so yeah, this is supposedly the last issue of Last Remains. I'll give you a hint, and I'll bet you money it's not. I bet you. What issue is this? 55 LR comes out because they didn't really end this storyline. The Goblin, Harry Osborn, and Kingpin show up. By the way, Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, basically just an uninteresting Tony Soprano. That's going to become relevant later. Remember that. They show up. Kindred's in here, or, the other Osborn, and we find out that he just can't let go of the past. He keeps rambling on about how he got screwed over by Mary Jane and how he got screwed over by Petey, and we've already heard him do this 1,000 times. Like, since the whole beginning of him, that's always been the thing with him. He's a whiny little rich kid. Didn't change really much in here, and his powers are kind of lame. He basically dumps bugs on people. Yeah, that happened. It was that it. And then just left it on a cliffhanger. Like I said, there'll be an LR because that's the thing to do. You don't finish your stories on time. Something good. All right, I got something good to say. It's rough, right? Ghost Rider Vengeance. This is fun. We did bring back an older character in here, Michael, who was in the Sons of Vengeance run and Midnight Suns. Really cool. Meaner Ghost Rider, believe it or not. There's a meaner one. It's kind of like a cross between Punisher and Catch, I would say. He's been in hell. He's been tortured in hell. He escapes hell, and he's got to find vengeance. My only question is, it's not vengeance that they portray in here. It's just outward rage. There has to be a reason that you seek vengeance for, like, something happened and you want vengeance for that something that happened. And here it just seems like a random axe, I guess, at best. I don't know. But we want to make it very clear that he's not Johnny Blaze and he's not Ketch in here, right? Danny Ketch, right? We want to make that very clear in here, and we did. Cool bike, witty banter, zero cares, gore, action. It's just a fun read. If you are a fan of the whole Ghost Rider Vengeance, Midnight Suns, that whole run from the late 80s, early 90s time frame, this is definitely the book for you. This book was written for you. You get this. New readers coming into it, you're probably like, there's another Ghost Rider? Really? Like, you're not going to get it. So yeah, definitely check it out if you're a fan of that. All right, moving on to my indies. Short haul this week. Let's see here. Something is killing the children. We find out more about the House of Slaughter. We already knew that they were coming to kill everybody in the town and drop them bodies of everybody that kind of saw the monsters that only children can see. But we didn't realize how sadistic they would be about the whole thing. And that, we really see the dark side of them. This whole thing right here is really just a concept of two philosophies, right? There's the ruling behind a desk and the boots on the ground, right? And our antagonist in here is obviously a boots on the ground person. She constantly references, "You're not here. You're not dealing with this. You don't understand. And the people in charge are like, it doesn't matter. Protocol calls for this. Like, these are the rules, and these rules are here because people that were boots on the ground set these rules up. And so there's that conflict in here, and it looks like they just may try to off her too at this point, is my speculation on this book. Regardless, not much information comes out of each one of these issues. What little bit we do get, we get to speculate a lot on. So definitely good stuff. I am enjoying it. It's a quick read. You blow through this in minutes. Last but not least, as I mentioned in the intro, Delta Dogs, issue 13. If you don't know what Delta Dogs is, we've interviewed these guys over at Blaster Stash It. I've reviewed their comic books on here. This is, again, made my pick of the week, and that's twice now. That's how little I've been looking at everything else, but this has been good. Still getting some more backstory to our characters, but the reason why we're getting their backstory into this one is more important than ever. We found out that when they got powers, and they were like, okay, let's be a superhero team, yay, high five. They trained a little bit. They were kids playing. And then what we find out in this one is now they're a team because they have to be. Like, there's a reason for it. They each got a past story. They all have to live up to parents' expectations, and they may not want to. Great scene in here with our basketball player, Quan, our lead antagonist in this. He's obviously probably grown the most, where he tried to be this lone wolf, tried to do everything on his own, realizing that he needs a team. And he's taken a more stoic position as the leader of the team. Even to the point to where he uses my favorite quote in here, letting go of the bad habits that started off all of our pain. Meaning you gotta let your past go in order to move forward. That's a very mature thing to do. And he's teaching, the younger cousins this kind of thing. I think is just epically beautiful. And we see a great setup of our villains at a local YMCA. And this was a good example of nostalgia being used correctly. I don't know if it was purposely done, but there's a flashback scene in here where one of the kids is wearing a jacket. Like, he's got a fresh jacket. He's about in 8th grade. He's going to go check out his friends at school. It's like, oh, man, I'm fresh because I got my jacket, me and my man, right? And it's a popular jacket that's being worn by the kids at this particular school. And it immediately drove me back because this takes place in Norfolk, Virginia. And I, as a child, grew up in the Norview area. And I distinctly remember in like the late 80s, there was a jacket like all the kids wore. It was a goose, right? They all wore goose. Goose came out. Everybody was wearing it. Rappers were wearing it. All the kids in 8th. I was in 8th grade during the time. And all the kids are like rocking it out in 8th grade. And it was just the thing to wear, right? And I thought, like, look back at that. And I was like, there's a good use of nostalgia. Even if he meant to or didn't mean to. Regardless, there's always that one thing around that middle school time frame that all the kids had to have, right? And boom, there it is in the book, beautifully done. And we get an epic story about how, sometimes bad things happen to good people, and that actually happened in here. I don't want to spoil it for you, but definitely check out the link below. Check it out. You can also check out Delta Dogs on Comixology too, if you prefer your virtual. They don't pay me anything. I genuinely just enjoy the book. So definitely give it a peek. Give it a peek. I will tell you this: it's kind of like binge watching Netflix shows. You are going to need that first episode for the rest of this to make sense. So definitely, if you can, definitely check out the first one, of course. And then, of course, we're on our second volume of this. So good stuff. Very good stuff. Definitely check it out. That's a short one. No funny clips because I've got to get back out to the workshop. I'm this close to being done with the Keyblade project that I've been working on. We should have that done today. Probably slice something up and have that out to you quickly here on New Year's Eve. Cutting this one close, Bubba. Cutting this one close. Like, I got to get this done in the next few hours and put out before midnight. I got to put this out on New Year's Eve before midnight. Okay. Also, check out Mr. Comic. What is it? Mr. Comic 89, I think is his name. Yeah, Mr. Comic 89. He's been very gracious in inviting me to be on his show, his Knockout show, where I get to debate my villain, and I got to pick Lex Luthor. I believe my first component or my first opponent is Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, the uninteresting Tony Soprano. So shots fired at Tacoma Comics already, right up off the bat. Who will be debating for Wilson Fisk. Should be fun, should be interesting. If you're not busy, definitely swing by over there and check that out. Again, link in the description. If you haven't, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get that Keyblade video, the build video done. Also, you can check out the promo video I did for it right there. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. I got work to do. Talk to you later. Bye.